And now here's part 2 of our episode.
So Charlie, why is that the standout track?
Oh man, it is just, I don't know. Like, can I even form words? It is so, it's like every time she hits a high note, I just imagine someone arching their back. It's very, it's like, oh damn. I'm like, this is, the vocals are doing something. And to talk about the music video, I think this is the closest I've probably come to being like, oh man, is that what sex with a woman is like? Like, the video, like, to actually spend time, to spend energy thinking about that. That is the power of this music video, because it's just her and she's in a silk gown, like a nightie, and she's against a black backdrop, and the entire music video is golden dice, 2 golden dice, that whenever she like moves her shoulders or closes her eyes, wind from an unseen source pushes them up her body, and they're like going up and down her body and between her legs. And I'm like, wow, this is what we're doing.
Your description of it is evocative, and it is as evocative as the video itself, ladies and gentlemen. Like, it's just, this is what we're dealing with. There's a beautiful element of this that reminds me of the J-Lo song that you were just talking about in the first part, because it's like she was saying, look at me, you know, like, love me. And in this one, it's like, what are you willing to do is a very similar subtextual message in that.
Yeah.
I love that I love that these are songs that you connect with. I love that as a driving force.
Yeah. From 11 to 34. So definitely.
Totally.
So yeah, that is a theme, and it is a fun thread throughout music that I tend to gravitate toward.
So we gave you this prompt to tell us what you thought was a perfect album, quote unquote. We didn't define what we meant by the word perfect, and that's sort of the conceit of the whole project here. So one of the things we like to ask at this point is like, so what were the standards for perfection that you were using to grade albums against when you were considering what to choose?
Oh man, just how much I want to dive into their waters. So the 2 albums, just for your listeners, the other 2 options that I gave along with this one are ones that I love just as much. Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. That is, I think, such a underrated record. And I love looking up interviews with him during that period in his life, because I think that producing the Goliath that was Thriller maybe contributed to him having weird standards for himself to recreate something that was a juggernaut. So off the wall, like, Beat It is a juggernaut in a different way than Thriller. You know, it's like they're both juggernauts, but I feel like Beat It was Michael Jackson's Crazy in Love. Like, that was like, Beat It was like his people see him stepping out, they're like, oh shit, Michael's a star. Like, he's not just in a boy group, he's a star. I see Michael Jackson differently now. And I love that energy of that time in his life, to the point where with the movie of him, I hope that they spend a lot of time there, because I think that was just him creating for the sake and the joy of creating, rather than trying to appease or go to a different level for the masses.
That's going to be a hell of a movie. That's in the works. That's happening? Is it in production?
Yes.
Dang. That's going to be something else. I'm very curious to see how that turns out. Telling stories about these individuals, you know, then of course you have these movies about the Beatles coming out too, right? You're talking about when you're trying to create a profile of people who like the public consciousness, we're so aware of them. We have these stories in our heads already about, it's like the Elvis movie too, you know, like the Rihanna movie too. Like, if we're doing these biopics, these stories are so complex to tell, right? That's probably why we're endlessly fascinated with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what was tell our listeners what the other album was you were considering?
Yeah.
Oh man, the other album was Beyonce's Renaissance. Goddamn, that
a favorite of the
that
pod.
album,
A favorite of the pod.
like
Yes.
people keep saying that album. Probably they're like, oh my god, Renaissance. You cannot tell me that the song Church Girl was not written for people like me. Like I just like that is on my shower playlist. I love feeling the sun come through my face in the window and to just hear the opening notes of like before she gets it to I'm like and then just the way that the song loses its shit towards the end, like the part where she's like and she might let you dive in the water. Drop it like I thought it. Drop it like I thought it. No, drop it like I thought it. It's so, it just, you can hear her having so much damn fun in that song. It's just very joyful and very fun. And I went to a gay club and we had a Renaissance night where the DJ just played all of Beyonce's Renaissance, and even the way that people were dancing during Church Girl felt different. It was like you kind of cute dance, you're like kind of checking people out. In Church Girl, everyone was fully in their body. Like people were just like getting into it. It was so fun.
She'd be so proud.
It was so fun.
That's exactly
she
what she
would.
was.
Absolutely.
Did you see
album.
Did you see Beyonce last summer?
No, I had to pay my rent.
Same.
We've heard this from a lot of people. Yes.
Yeah, it's just one of the what a cultural event practically defined the year that summer of Taylor and Beyonce. Where do we think Rihanna is with touring? Because is she on tour right now? Like, so it'll probably be until the new album comes out that we'll have before another Rihanna tour, I would assume.
With Rihanna, I feel like, well, one, the public would eat it up because they're like, oh my god, our queen is back. She's feeding us. The fandom is being fed. So
as they say,
I think people would be as they say. So I think that would be super exciting for people. But I think Rihanna, she ain't touring. Like, it might as well be hashtag we're the album sis, hashtag we're never gonna get a tour sis. She just like Rihanna is comfortable. She is a billionaire. Do you think a billionaire is about to go?
It's true. Yeah.
So okay, then why do you think she did the Super Bowl? Because I mean, I think I had read that she'd been kind of anti-NFL, because of everything going on with Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. And like, why do you think she was like, okay, I'll do the halftime show?
Oh, I think because her mentor Jay-Z is on their board. So Jay-Z has some say over who performs at Super Bowl. I think that's how he got Usher on. And Usher brought a bunch of people on. So I would say that it's the Jay-Z connection.
I mean, the Super Bowl performance, I think, is another great example of like the kind of caliber. You can't talk about her in any other company besides other artists who have like kind of laid claim to the Super Bowl, like Prince and Janet, and like all of these people who have done the most iconic Super Bowl. I think hers is easily up there, top 3 Super Bowl halftime shows of all time.
Yes,
has to be.
Yes, I think it's definitely up there. I think Michael Jackson had an iconic Super Bowl performance where they were like he teleported to like different stages. I thought that was just really cool. Like that was when we started to get the more iconic black or white Michael, that who went from going like win to no wait, just
the way you're speaking about Michael, I think we need. It's funny. Michael hasn't popped up on lists as much as you would think. For
really?
People, yeah. I think Michael. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think was Charlie the first person or the second person to nominate Michael?
First or second. I think people have been hesitant to talk about him.
Sure.
I mean, I know there's a podcast I listen to pretty regularly called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, and they're on like song number 115, which is, more than 60. But he finally covered Michael Jackson. He had covered Janet like a while back, but he finally covered Michael, and he covered the song Black or White, and he was like, I've been putting this off for a while, but we're gonna do this. Let's go ahead and do it. And I mean, I think he handled it pretty well. But it's just so tricky, right? Because we primarily want to talk to people about how they connect to music, but a lot of times musical artists are larger than life personalities. They become bigger than their music, and so then how do you reconcile that when they get in trouble or they do things that are questionable? And like, how do you we still want to talk about the music, but
they're flawed.
Can we separate the two? I don't know.
Yeah, that is a great question. I often ponder this, and it's I'm so interested in hearing philosophers or people who think deeply about morality would think about it. Like, do you know that TV show A Good Place? The Good Place?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Like, I would love to hear Chidi break down this question, with philosophy books and like what that would mean.
Logic.
I don't think that logic of it. Like, I want the trolley problem or conundrum like approach to this, because I think you can never separate the problematic artist from the art, but some part of me has like a third thought about it that isn't yes or no. It's, well, is the art kind of iconic because they're problematic?
Sure.
Like, are the two interwoven? Like, with
the art, I would say it has to be. It just doesn't seem like it doesn't. It seems like it's a chicken and an egg, right?
It's a chicken and an egg, because now I'm looking at their art and I'm noticing things I always notice, but I'm seeing it through the lens of what I know their vices were or their dysfunctions were. So I think it permanently recolors the work, the original work. It's like something going from standard to HD. Like, I can now see all the pores in your skin. Thank you, HD. So yeah.
I'm going to retroactively give you a few 100,000,000 points for. I want to.
All the points.
The image you used was how deeply you want to dive into the waters of an album that you believe is perfect, and so I want to make note of that. That's really well made. And then this conversation we're having about separating the art and the artist. I mean, I think there's to some degree, there's a level at which a couple of guys that are talking about doing a podcast where we talk about music is inherently intellectualizing it. But to me, I think what you're saying sounds like part of the reason we'll probably never be able to have a clear-cut answer to this problem is because it'll always be inherently emotional. There will always be an element of the emotion surrounding this person's art, or even just the empathy we have for that person, that makes us unable to like kind of fully stand in one camp or the other unless we really decide to, right?
I know. You really have to decide which like problematic artist you still ride for. Like, for me, Michael Jackson, yes. R. Kelly, no. I feel like everybody has like a number of problematic faves we can still have. You can have one. You can have two. Can we have three? Can we have three?
Too many on your saved playlists.
It's like, y'all enjoy R. Kelly and Woody Allen. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Don't add a Roman Polanski, or else you're really in trouble.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Another one.
There we go. 4 million points for another one. 4 million.
Charlie, do you remember the SNL skits that she did with Andy Samberg for the character named Shy Ronnie?
No, I don't. Tell me about it. Tell me all about it. My God.
So, okay. I mean, I think maybe this kind of connects to what you were saying at the very beginning of our conversation, which is why, like, I'd probably rather hang out with Rihanna than Beyonce, because she goes on SNL and she's like, okay, I'll play. You want me to do something kind of funny and weird? I'll do it. It's this sketch where Andy Samberg plays this rapper named Shy Ronnie, who is like like totally like nerdy and
Dweeby.
like bad hair, super dweeby. And like the first sketch, he's going to rap, and Rihanna is like his his vocal side piece essentially. And so she sings this intro, and like it's classic Rihanna vocals, and then she like sends it to Andy Samberg as Shirani, and he like has a microphone. She did not. He has a microphone, and then he just like talks into it, but you can't hear what he's saying. and she's reacting like she has these lyrics written into the song where she's like, speak up, like directly to him. And then and there's two sketches because she was on twice for this. One time where he's like addressing a group of kids, and one time where they're playing Ronnie and Clyde, where Rihanna is and they're like robbing a bank. Do yourself a favor after we're done recording, Charlie. You have to like YouTube Shy Ronnie. You will love it.
And she just does it's her that voice. The voice is unmistakable when she goes Shy Ronnie. It's really good. Charlie, this has been freaking delightful, but we're having too much fun because this is a competition. And there are points, and there are assessments to be made. There's a winner and a loser, but not really. But we're gonna count back the points that you achieved, and then we're going to tally those up, and then I'm gonna put it to Michael to make the final decision. So, the most recent points I gave you were 4 million points for another one. The whole bit around how many problematic faves you have is a very apt point. We can only have a few. 2 million points for talking about an album's perfection being related to how deeply you want to dive into their waters. Yes. 3 million points for talking about how this album gets so close to creating the sensation of what sex actually feels like. Yes to that. 60,000 points for Baby Charlie popping to J-Lo with the little headphones on the school bus. Excellent imagery, rich imagery. I'm going to say this one in a somber tone for the seriousness of it. 9 million points for the Britney Spears Emancipation Proclamation. Lest we forget. Don't you ever forget the Britney Spears Emancipation Proclamation. Was that 5 million points for doing the most at your audition for high school? I may not have shared that one because we were on to something else, but you got points for it. 2 million points for talking about what I'm calling love life, shake ass, your whole value system around music. You gave Michael 4.5 out of 5 Fenty. Wait, what was it again?
Concealers.
Fenty concealers. I was like, I can't read my own writing. 4.5 out of 5 Fenty concealers for his 60-second intro. And then before that, I gave you 100 million points for Rihanna Targaryen. This board's looking pretty good.
Good.
And you brought every level of the emotional case that we wanted to this, but the decision comes down to one man, Michael. Tell me, how has Charlie done? Did Charlie do enough that we can consider Rihanna's Auntie a perfect album? Does it go to 11?
I mean, I haven't laughed this much on an episode we've recorded in a long time. This is such a joyful recording, and I appreciated the album. I think you made a solid case. Yes, Charlie, this album goes to 11. It may join the Pantheon.
Yeah!
I waited my whole life.
Your whole life.
Your whole life.
You can add that to your you're going to need a bigger trophy cabinet if you keep racking up awards like you have recently, including this one. And we need to make you a plaque or something like that.
We got to make stuff. We got to make some sort of like swag to send to people. They can like put it on their shelves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for this. This was the best, and we would love to have you back in some capacity. As we might need you as an expert witness for our Michael Jackson episode when it does happen. I'm putting that out into the universe that we might need your services. But would you like to hear what we chose as our standout track from the album to play us out of the episode?
I would love to hear that, actually.
Okay, Michael, what did we choose?
We chose Higher, actually. The penultimate track, unless you're listening to the deluxe edition, of course. We kind of bounced around a little bit because I think that this is an album where it doesn't have the same sort of singles as her previous albums do. Like, in some ways, like, we didn't talk about this in the episode, but I see a lot of crossover with, like, SZA. Because I feel like SZA albums feel like albums, like the singles feel like they are part of a bigger texture essentially. But Higher, it's just because we think it's kind of a unique song. Tyler, you had a few things to say about it, right?
And it's just, we need a reminder of how good her voice is sometimes. I think it goes underappreciated how good a voice Rihanna has. And then on this song, it's raw and it's like, it really showcases her voice in a special way that I thought set it apart from the other tracks on the album. Not that they don't showcase them well, but this one is particular in my opinion.
Right. It really is. And the way that you feel her voice stretching to the sky when she goes higher, it really is a interesting, beautiful, a little sad song, even though it's talking about like higher. It feels it sounds like she's about to cry.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's very interesting.
Charlie, this has been an absolute pleasure. I cannot stress that enough. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing this album with us. This is a great conversation. We really appreciate you.
Really appreciate you both too. What a delight. Like, I'm in such a good mood.
It's what we want. Rihanna would be very pleased.
She would be. Riri.
Wherever you are.
Well, dear listeners, thanks so much for listening to us. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.